They wanted a theme song for the road trip, right? To lay the
Right. We're on this road trip. We need a theme song. Then they get in with Kristen and they say, it's got to make you laugh. It's got to make you cry. It should be what they say, kind of like,
a little country, a little jazzy.
yeah, country, jazz, make you think. And anyway,
It should also chart. I think they said it should chart.
it should chart. Nice.
Like
Well,
it was something like it was like a ridiculous. They wanted it. Yeah, they maybe wanted like some choir, country, jazz, make you think, but also bring a tear to your eye. It was the joke was that it was like horrible direction and way too many things all at once. Welcome to the process. My name is Josh Greenbaum. I'm here with Sean Douglas, and we are here to talk about the song Harper and Will Go West, which is featured in my documentary Will and Harper. Hey, Sean, how you doing?
what's up, dude? How are you?
I'm good. This is really organic, just a couple of friends hopping on a Zoom to talk about our process.
Exactly. Are we not artists if we're not constantly talking about our process?
That's true. It's true. I think one of the unique aspects of this song that Sean wrote alongside Kristen Wiig and myself was that it was how we were going to end the film. It was going to be the last sort of taste in everyone's mouth, which on some level I think creates higher stakes than sometimes you want. It's like, it's as they say in comedy, it's sort of if it's a sketch, it's like, how do you land that final joke? Obviously in a film, your final scene is really critical. So this became really our final scene, and we obviously rolled credits, but saw some of the B-roll from their trip and some of the footage that didn't actually make the final cut. So going backwards now, even though that's the end, let's go back to the beginning and talk about how this song came about.
Okay, here it is.
Harper and Will go west. Just a couple old friends and a couple brand new breasts. They're off to see America, not sure what they'll find. Open to the open road, only to be reminded that a friend is a friend is a friend till the end.
From your side of the story, how did this song come about?
You dropped me a line, and I think it was somewhat out of the blue, and we're friends outside of this collaboration, and told me about the documentary you're working on. You were just like, I'm sending you a link. I think this is how it happened. You said, give it a watch, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. We need a song. There's sort of a running bit about a song in it that Kristen's going to do. And I, watched the link that night, and I feel, if I'm remembering correctly, whatever time we were going to get together and do the song with Kristen was a pretty fast turnaround after this. So it felt like, not like fire drill, but it did feel like all of a sudden this thing just showed up. And I watched the movie and, was pretty floored by it because I wasn't really ready for what I was about to watch. I mean, I knew the basic subject matter, but it's, as anyone who has seen it would know and has told you, I'm sure you've heard a million times, how like moving and kind of transformative the whole thing is. And while I'm taking in the movie and kind of going on the journey with them, you're also seeing this running bit start to come up about the song and starting to get a picture of what they're looking for in the song, and what they're, on the surface looking for. What they say they're looking for is a little bit of a joke, because it's this like long, tall order of all the things that it needs to be. It needs to be kind of everything under the sun and summarize their friendship. And so as the bit keeps going and I'm watching the movie, my angst starts to mount, because you start to go like, wait, now we have to go and do this. And now the movie means more and more to you as you're getting to the end of it. And now I'm emotionally invested in the thing. It's not just some song we're going to write. Now it's this song that has to live up to, their story, and also the checklist of things it needs to do. Anyway, that was my experience.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate. I think Kristen, was struggling to write the song. I think at one point I had sent her, she's like, I don't think I can do it. I was like, you can do it. She's very musical. I sent her a little Casio keyboard. I don't know if I ever told you.
Did you really? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because she was like, I can play ukulele. I was like, great. And then she's like, or I could maybe noodle on a keyboard or a guitar, so I sent her a keyboard. And I think she was, had some ideas, but wasn't quite getting it. I was like, well, I think we need the help of an incredible songwriter. And I just happen to be friends with one. And for those who don't know, Sean is a incredibly successful, very big deal in the music world. He doesn't just write sort of half joke songs for documentaries. He writes big hit songs. And so, it was great. I was like, I think Sean would be great. And to be honest, if you remember, Sean, I think what had just happened too, he and I had just been on this weird like friends vacation trip that like a bunch of friends of us all go on.
Yes.
And in a not dissimilar manner, one of our friends asked Sean on the trip, like the day before, can you write a song for my parents' 40th or 50th? Or
I think
50th,
50th, yeah.
50th wedding anniversary and perform it tomorrow in front of like 100 people and the couple. And Sean did it. And it was like, he came up with it in a day. It was beautiful. It was funny. It was like the tone was so specific. And I honestly think that, again, the universe was putting all these things together for us. But that also triggered like, oh my God, Sean, that tone of that thing you wrote for that little sort of moment was very not dissimilar to what we needed here. But, I think I said to you, Sean, and I spoke with Kristen, and, we wanted something obviously to capture the tone of the film, which is very specific. And there's a warmth and there's certainly a lot of comedy, but there's a lot of heart to it. And I think the comp you and I talked about, by the way, and correct me if I'm wrong, there was several, but one of them that I remember sending to you was the last song of Juno.
Right.
Part-time lovers and full-time friends,
Yeah.
Yeah. Like just very small, folksy, sweet.
Yeah, I think that was a good signpost for like tone, because it wants to feel warm, right? It's like such a loving thing. It felt Heartland, right? They're traveling across the center of America, so it wants to be a little folksy. It just feels like it's a traveling song, and it made me think of kind of Wildflowers, Tom Petty kind of zone, and you want
which is a needle drop in the film too, by the way.
That's right.
A very short needle drop, yeah.
Well, that was the other incredibly intimidating thing, is that all the needle drops in the movie are ridiculous classic songs. So then you've got to now come in after all those, there's the Stones and my favorite Elton John, Amarina is in there. And anyway,
and Bon Iver, Holocene. It's like those are all the warm up acts to you're the headliner.
So when you and Kristen came over, I mean, obviously I'm such a fan of hers, and was intimidated, not just intimidated by her, but she, like you said, she really is a musician and a songwriter, and I think she is self-deprecating about it or downplays it, but once it's funny how things kind of fall away once you start just working on something, because Kristen Wiig is coming over, and I have to be kind of on it or whatever, or be whatever to come through.
Yeah.
Right. But then when the three of us sit down and just start talking about what it needs to be, that kind of, those concerns kind of go away. And I feel like we got into a conversation about the balance between, the movie is a comedy, and it's clearly there's something, that's a bit about doing the song, but it's about something, really emotional and serious. And what was the balance? What was the ratio of, let's have a funny line, or how do we need to comment about this emotional journey they're going on together? And I feel like we did a lot of like weighing it one way a little farther and then back the other way, which you've told me that the edit of the movie was a very similar process.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and I think honestly, when we first came over, and I want to say it was in the room that you're in, but it's not. You're in I think you've moved your studio a little bit. Right?
It's the same room, but I just I cut it in half.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so it was in that room. And I think.
By the way, we can talk about that process too if you want to look at the spec.
Yes, let's just turn this into a home makeover show. We'll talk about any process on the process.
Literally.
Yes. So we came over, and I think you had just put together the very early version of the chorus, which I feel like stayed the chorus from the get-go. And that's really what kicked us off, and what was I think unlocked everything, was that you had Harper and we'll go west. Like, and then I think you had a couple seedlings of ideas for where to go from there. Like,
Yeah, a couple of friends.
I can't remember what the early ones were, but yeah. Oh, you did write the earliest one, which is my favorite, which is just a couple old friends and a pair of brand new breasts. Yeah, it's like
I remember being very nervous to trot that out in front of you guys, and I was glad it was well received. And the other interesting dynamic about it was that you and Kristen are close friends with Will and Harper, and I, before then, didn't have a relationship with them. So Kristen felt rightfully compelled to talk about what the meaningfulness of what had transpired in the movie and what Harper had gone through, and that was really important. But obviously, so there was so much about, like, I didn't want to be too flippant.
No, you're right. And actually, I'm just remembering now the earliest part of our process. I'm gonna, for those doing a counter, just see how many times I say the word process. We're trying to hit 30 in 20 minutes. But we actually, because Kristen originally they called her while they were on the road, and so technically she was supposed to sort of write the song having not seen the film, right? Because it wouldn't make sense that she would see the films. They would have just called her and said, which is what happened. But it did take us a long time to get there, and by the time she was sort of ready and we were going to try to record it and write it and record it, I had a cut of the movie, and so I did share it, obviously with Sean, as he said, but I also shared it with Kristen. And we did fall into a little bit of a trap, I think, where we started writing a lot of lyrics where Kristen knew all the details of their trip,
making reference to little jokes and things. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we were like, well, that feels a little off, given that, like, the nature of, yes, it's the true story is she, of course, saw the film and she could write that way. But, for the way we wanted to feel, we sort of started to say, no, let's write it from the perspective, which is how it was originally, which was that she didn't know all of what was going on, their day to day.
Yeah. And I think that was key because that helped us drill down into what is the real core of this friendship and this story. You know what I mean? It forces you to get, like, what is it really about, instead of just a laundry list of, hey, wasn't that fun when this happened? And wasn't that a gas when they,
Exactly. And I think where we kind of landed was the road trip became a metaphor for the emotional journey they were on individually, Harper and her own journey of transitioning, and Will and his journey of re-meeting or meeting his old friend in a new light. And then, of course, the journey of their relationship. And it is like going out into the great unknown, or like explorers heading to the Wild West, where there's dangers, there's unknown parts that you're not sure how you're going to navigate. And so I think that's really kind of unlocked a lot of the lyric writing.
Yeah, for sure. There was a whole kind of manifest destiny sort of undercurrent, where it's like they're going into the future and seeking the next chapter of their life, and they don't know what's around the corner.
Harper will go west, not prospecting for gold. This is a richer quest. They're off to see America, follow their own signs, open to the open road, only to be reminded that a friend is a friend is a friend is a friend, a friend is a friend is a friend till the end.
There was a word I remember you saying, I've always wanted to work this. Oh, I know what it was. Prospecting, not prospecting for gold. This is a rich request. Sorry that I'm singing. I'm not a great singer, but it's how I remember the lyrics. But I remember Sean turned to Kristen and I and was like, I've always wanted to work prospecting into a song.
Yeah, I mean, you've helped me achieve so many of my dreams. That's just one amongst them.
It was really, like you said, it was that balance. They're off to see America, not sure what they'll find, open to the open road only. And then I think the beautiful, again, I think you wrote this as well early on, Sean, lyrically and musically, was the kind of final part of the chorus is not sure what they'll find, open to the open road, only to be reminded that a friend is a friend is a friend till the end. And, that ultimately is such the sentiment, I feel like, of the film. And And that feeling that you can kind of, life is really hard, but with like just one person who's got your back, like you can make it through really difficult times, really trying, times full of change. And that I think you nailed with that. Really beautiful.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we locked that in as part of the chorus, I remember feeling pretty excited. It always feels like in a song like a tightrope walk where you've got an idea and then you're out, on a limb, and you go, okay, now we've got a good idea, and it makes you kind of more nervous sometimes, or like a little goosebumpy, because you go, well, now we can't fuck it up,
Right.
got something. When you're just searching around, then it's like the stakes feel lower. But
It's
then,
free. Yeah, the stakes are super low.
yeah, and not to be super, I don't know, self-aggrandizing about that line, but it did feel like, oh, that's kind of at the core of this. That some things are constant and mysteries, and then some things are steady. That a friend is a friend felt like it got to spoke to what we were talking about.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to the point of the stakes, like I'm sure I said this to Kristen and you. It's like the challenge of the song was I had lived with a movie and it ended at the very end with this beautiful song by Gene and Debbie called Go With Me, that similarly, like Harper had introduced me to the song. I loved it. She had sent me a bunch of music and it was the one song I zeroed in on. And it's how we had ended the film forever. And it worked perfectly and it was beautiful. And so there was that kind of, to your point of stakes, it was like, oh, I had really liked the last taste in everyone's mouth at the end of this film currently. Now it's like, how do we continue it or do better than that or keep it going, which is always a challenge. And and I think process wise, you do your best to like block that out and just
There's
write.
another process.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, there you
We're
go.
up to 21 for those counting.
This is the jazzy part. I assume there's no room in the car for me. I'd have been invited, but I'll play my part. This one's from the heart.
Whenever you talk to people about songwriting, they always go, you wrote that song in a day? And not just this song, just like other songs. And obviously there are exceptions, where you go back. And I think we even we came back another day and re-examined some verse stuff to tighten it up. But like it all kind of fell out in that day. And then we came back and just re-examined a couple lines. And then she sang it and just, I don't know, I just love her melodic phrasing,
I do too.
her tone of voice. And again, she went into it a little bit like, well, this is not my main thing. And, just trying to be deferential, but she was like, the process of recording her in my little home studio was like easier than, a big list of, pop stars.
And Sean's going to name all of those stars right now.
All of them. Here we go.
All the people who are harder to work with than Kristen Wiig. No, she's incredible. She's so funny. She's such a wonderful friend. I've been lucky to call her a friend for a long time now, since we made Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar together way back when. And she does have a beautiful voice and a warmth to it. And one of the challenges Will and Harper asked for was that it also needed to be jazzy. And obviously what we wrote was not super jazzy. And so we had the idea of like, what if in the middle she just broke into a ridiculous sax solo? Full disclosure, she does not play the sax. She does play the ukulele well. She can play around on a piano, but she does not play the sax. So Sean got a great sax player and who came to my house, right? And
that's right.
Yeah, they came to my like office and we recorded. I recorded on a okay mic. I guess it worked well enough.
Yeah,
and then the real fun part was that I then got to go film Kristen singing this song. I got to go to Kristen's house to film her, and at one point we obviously had to do the saxophone bit, and she's playing the saxophone. I'm filming her on my iPhone, and she's like, "Oh, wait a minute, we should get out like a hair dryer and blow it on my face." And I was like, "Wait, better yet, do you have a leaf blower?" And she's like, "I do." So I got her leaf blower and was like shooting her right in the face with a leaf blower. And she's playing the saxophone. As we're doing this, her husband, Ari, walks in the house, sees us through the back window, shakes his head, and just walks off. Like,
Oh my God.
just another day in the life of Kristen Wiig,
That's
and this
funny.
is normal. To just yeah.
I didn't know that. Now, I hope that I assume that leaf blower is electric and not one of those now illegal gas ones.
It's electric. It was electric, in fact.
All right, thank
I
you.
will say. Yeah, which was good. It was a little quieter.
Didn't want to have to cite you.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't realize they were illegal already. That's good. There was a little bit of debate over Will and Harper and Will, but it has much more had a rhythm to it. Harper and Will Go West felt great.
And I still sometimes feel anxiety about the fact that I the names around. Not like I didn't know what the movie was called, or I don't even remember if the cut you sent me started with
had the title yet. I can't remember. Yeah,
just felt like rhythmically it had to go the other way.
It's right. It is funny that it's Harper and Will Go West from the movie Will and Harper, but I like that. It's there. It flips it. It's perfect.
Yeah, make it inaccessible. That's what true artists do.
That's what you guys do.
Yeah,
it's all part of our process. There we go. We hit 30. I wonder if we really did hit. I wonder how many we did.
I think we might have overshot it.
Thank you for watching and listening. Thank you to Sean for joining. And yeah, that's it. This was our conversation about the process.
One more.